For the past several weeks, the community of Swift Current has seen a dramatic increase in the rat population.
Before I moved here, people were telling me they've seen rats running down the street, and I was quite concerned, but as far as I know, I haven't seen any rats.
I know people who purposely swerve to kill their rats now. Like, that's how bad it is. I don't even know what they can do about it anymore.
I have heard about this when this hospital was opened. Some people were telling me they have seen a rat up in the compound.
Concerned citizens and public officials have begun to tackle this problem head-on, while at times becoming divided on the issue.
I've seen more input from the community rather than the city. I've had people come get me to sign petitions. It seems to not be helping yet, so I don't know.
Step up and say, yes, there is a problem. You know, like they seem to be dragging their feet saying there wasn't a problem before, and we know there is.
I'm quite confident they'll get it under control.
In the end, if any significant change is to be seen, we all need to stand together as members of the community and work towards a solution. It's been a busy week of public meetings surrounding concerns over the issue of a growing rat population in Swift Current. The scene began on Tuesday as a local motel owner brought his petition to City Council, containing over 100 signatures of concerned business owners asking the city to address the issue of cleaning up the city and the rat problem.
So now will be the time for you as Town Council to prove it to these citizens, because they're angry. I have heard and talked to over 100 people, and they are admitting, saying that get things done. And I have said public to you as some of the council members, charge me as a business owner $100 on my next tax, but hire the right amount of people that will get the job done. Don't put a Band-Aid on the wound that is so infected right now.
Comments made by Reimer, which brought a quick response by many sitting on council.
Your advertisement, your media coverage will hurt every business within this community. Not only the businesses, but the citizens of this community.
You guys went to the national TV.
And just a minute. It was on national TV. Okay, somebody must have leaked it. And so how does that affect your business?
Now, putting all arguments aside, the city states it has been working behind the scenes to quietly deal with the rat problem, rather than causing an all-out alert to residents. And thanks to calls from the public, the city has now received 265 calls to date of reported rat sightings or voicing concerns over questionable property which could be a haven for rats in the city. These calls have been noted and marked on a hotspot map seen here to assess where the problem areas may be within the city, with no major infestations noted to date.
We've received some training, and along with some pest control officer support that we just retained recently, we are going to start investigating sites in the areas of the highest concentration of sightings and occurrences in anticipation of locating these sites. And once those sites are located, we will certainly take all actions necessary to deal with the problem there.
Forster goes on to add that with a crew of 9 individuals in place to work with bylaw personnel in addressing the compounding rat issue, additional money has now been allocated to the cause.
We have retained the bylaw, the provincial pest control officer, and as I mentioned, he is experienced with the city. He used to do this work for the city. He's familiar with the community and is very proficient in his job. So we will incur that cost, as well as we have expanded our bylaw services division by another position to assist with property inspections. This will all be charged under our bylaw operating account, and Council has given us full approval to exceed our budgets in 2009.
And in an effort to further instill the message of the consequences of having rats in a community, the issue was addressed at the city's own public information meeting on Tuesday night, where over 400 residents in attendance had the chance to hear from the experts representing pest control, health, and the city itself. A meeting which those on council say was necessary to tackle the issue at hand.
Well, tonight is a night that actually I feel very proud to be a citizen of Swift Current. We had great information, great presenters spoke tonight. There was lots of good information. There was a great turnout, and we were around, and I spoke with a number of residents afterwards, and most of it was very positive. People are looking, providing solutions, wanting information. So I'm proud, and I think tonight forms a bit of a rallying night for our community to come together and tackle this issue.
Sentiments which were further echoed by the Chief Medical Health Officer of the Cypress Health Region.
And now when you have the kind of situation we have where there is an infestation, meaning there's more than the usual number, if you leave it only to certain sectors of the community to address it, the sectors of the community that do not address it will still have those rodents, which will then spread right back to the other sectors. So it's very important that everybody works together on this.
Here's where clear and concise information for the public comes into play, as outlined by this presentation made by the province's pest control coordinator.
Traps in households are great things. I mean, baits are probably best used on the outside of buildings to prevent infestations from coming in, rats from coming into the house to infest it. Traps are better for inside it, in case you do have a pet or something like that. You don't want to expose them to baits, and there's some serious baits there that you have to be careful with.
Meanwhile, those in the community who still wish the city was doing more on the issue have gone off in their own direction, which included a separate town hall meeting on Wednesday. Another 400 concerned residents came out in full force to hear another group of pest control experts and representatives from the health region discuss the rat problem across the city. Then it was the crowd's turn to voice their pent-up concerns and frustrations, which have been building for the past several months on the entire issue.
But I'm scared to take my 7-month-old son to the park, outside in my own god-dang backyard, and there's no reason that should be. I've raised my children here, and now my children at 16 years old, he said tonight, he says, when I go to university, Mom, I ain't coming back here. I'm not coming back to live in the Rat City. That makes me embarrassed. Our city council needs to stand up and look at its citizens, us, the youth in this city, so that we stay here, we keep our dollars here.
I have to disagree with the gentleman from the health region who says there are simple steps to take. Those aren't simple steps. I'm a 76-year-old housewife. I and my husband look after our property. It won't be that simple for us to investigate all our property, to wash it down with bleach and on and on and on.
As residents lined up one by one to have their turn at the open mic, Councillors Wall, Schaefer, and Ellertson sat in the audience listening to the crowd's comments. And according to Councillor Stacey Ellertson, he got their message loud and clear.
I think that, as I mentioned, I was trying to hear, I think we were all trying to listen to what everybody was saying, and they said the three things. They said they're willing to pay, they felt like they were being rejected, and they felt that we weren't communicating with them effectively. I think what people wanted to hear tonight was that we heard them, and we heard them, and I hope that they understand that we heard them.
Meanwhile, town hall meeting organizer and local business owner Don Robinson says he was pleased with the overall turnout of the local residents to the meeting. The public has now spoken, and he hopes their concerns over the lack of communication on the rat issue and requests for a professional pest control firm to be hired by the city will be taken to heart by those in office.
Well, I think we're going to keep the council's feet to the fire. We expect some action from this evening tonight. We're going to wait. We'll see what council decides. We'll let them talk about it amongst themselves for a while. But it's got to happen quickly. And, I don't think people are willing, and you've heard tonight, they're not willing to stand by for a whole long time before something happens. And they expect action, and they expect it quickly. And so we'll be watching.
And as one looks back on the situation, which has now escalated to divided groups within the community, we asked if the city could have done anything different in handling the situation.
Well, I think, when I try and evaluate things that we could have done different, and you're always trying to learn maybe what could have happened, is finding ways to engage our residents to help us with this or help us with this and let them know what we were doing on our end. And I think that was maybe where the biggest disconnect was. Now I think we're all on the same page, but yeah, with that, early on when we were kind of discussing property cleanup and whatnot, maybe it didn't seem like enough, but I think the message coming out of tonight is that goes a very long way in making sure that we get rid of this problem.
In this next segment, reporter Valerie Lalonde brings us the perspective on the rat issue from the retail and hospitality sector of Swift Current.